Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to this week's edition of On the Mark, straight talk across the Narrows. 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. It's so wonderful to be here with you again on a Wednesday night. Of course, you know, once it's Wednesday and it's 8 p.m. on the dot, you're always locked into the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, Vaughan Radio, and it's the On the Mark show, and it's the way that the people here in the Federation get to know what's happening in the Federation. It's the way that people from the diaspora who are not here with us physically, you know, they get to get a little piece of what's going on here at home. I'm Troy Libert, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. I think we're going to have a wonderful time. Of course, we all know today is December 1st, and it's starting to feel like December here in Nevis, you know. I know for our good folks in the US and in the UK and in those areas where you're having winter right now, and it's really, really cold there, that, you know, you would think that to come to Nevis, it's all warm and so on. But it's a kind of chilly night here in Nevis, you know. We just had a little shower of rain, and, you know, down here we don't really wear the jackets and the thick sweaters and so on. So if you're wearing a regular shirt and you're going outside right now, it's starting to feel a lot like Christmas. So outside is cold in our own sense of the word cold here in the tropics. So it's already December. 2021 is coming to a close. We have just some 30 days to go, and then we would be into 2022. What a year it has been, 2021, you know. Just over the past few days we have been hearing about COVID again, and apparently now there's a new variant, and the World Health Organization is calling this variant the Omicron variant. I think they skipped 2 of the Greek letters. Everybody who was not an expert on the Greek alphabet, they're going to be experts on the Greek alphabet by the time this whole COVID thing is done. And, you know, I was commenting to somebody today that back in 2020 in February or so, when we started to hear about this COVID thing, who would have thought that in 2021 in December that we would still be talking about this COVID virus, and that this COVID-19 or coronavirus, or whichever one you want to refer, you know, when you speak to it as, that we would still be talking about it, that it would still be dominating our lives. We couldn't really expect that. So you know, it's just so strange how things have been. And as you can see, I'm here in the studios and I'm not wearing a mask, so immediately you would be able to tell that I'm here in the room, of course, by myself, and that's the only reason why I'm not wearing a mask. But surgical masks have now become the in thing, and the masks that are made from fabric that people design in all sorts of fashions and so on, that's now the in thing. A few years ago, you show up somewhere and you have on a mask, everybody starts to run because that's something bad. Nowadays, you show up somewhere and you're not wearing a mask, everybody starts to keep far from you and everybody starts to run. You need the mask. How things have changed in such a short time. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, and it's so lovely to be here with you. You know, I love whenever I come on the Mark. These days, you know, we do the show one at a time. This week you would have the premier, of course, and he has been here for quite a few weeks in a row. He had a good run, and sometimes the people say, you know, they want to hear from Mark, so it's always good when he can be here on the show. And of course, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, he hosts the show from time to time, and of course the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. So we do it by committee, and so whenever, you know, I get the call to come out and do the show, I'm always happy to come, because you know, I get to interact with a lot of people. I'm sure you've heard me say it on the show before, that I've been places, especially like now it's Christmas, in the past where we would have people coming in from overseas when traveling was, we didn't even think about traveling, we just did it. And during Culturama time and so on, and we haven't even had the opportunity to really enjoy Culturama over the past 2 years. How sad that is. One of the things that I love is at Culturama time we see so many people who we have not seen in years. People come home for vacation. It's a time when people, Nigerians and so on, who are living overseas, always choose to come in. And I keep saying on the show that sometimes I would be in town or something, and I would be saying something, and somebody would say, "Oh, you're Try," because they recognize my voice from On the Mark. Of course, that was before we had the use of the YouTube and the Facebook, so you could tune in now and not only hear our voices, but you can actually see us in the studio. So before we had that, there was the voice, and people only would put the face to the voice if I'm walking somewhere, and they would hear me and recognize the voice. And so the show has done a lot. The show is something that is widely listened to. I always love it when I get calls after the show. In football in America, they call it the Monday morning quarterback, because they play a lot of football on a Sunday. And so Monday morning, you see all the pundits come out, and the pundits know everything that should have happened during the game. So I get a lot of calls after the show, and they tell me, "Well, you should have said this, or you should have said that." And I always like to comment to my friends, that it's a call-in show, and some of them we've never heard from them on the show, and I always try to challenge them, because some of them have some really, really good ideas and some really good input. And I should say, the show could really benefit from you calling in and sharing some of that insight with the good folks who listen to the show. But there's some people out there who are shy, but maybe one of these good days we'll get some of them to call in and contribute, because there are a lot of people out there all around St. Kitts and Nevis and out there in the diaspora who have some really, really good ideas and some really, really good insight that they can share with us. I get a lot of that after the show, and sometime on Thursday morning, and sometime on Thursday evening after the show is replayed. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the show we always like to shout out those persons who have had cause to celebrating birthdays and so on. Every day I'm on Facebook, and every day I get a lot of notifications on Facebook about people celebrating. One of the good things about social media is that it has brought a lot of people together. Social media, of course, can be good. Social media can also be bad, but one of the good things is that it brings a lot of people together. When you go on Facebook, you get a notification, and you know that somebody's celebrating a birthday or something, so you can send a shout out to them on Facebook. You can make a phone call if you're not one to put things on Facebook, and you can say happy birthday to them. So that's one of the good things about Facebook. So I want to shout out all those who've celebrated over the past week or so. I want to send a special shout out to my my mother and my father, who had a anniversary just in the past week, wedding anniversary, and that's always a lovely thing. So I want to shout them out. They've been going strong for a very long time, so I want to send out special congratulations to them, and continue to live and work. Of course, where there are highs, there are lows, and so we have persons who would be celebrating, and of course we have persons who have had cause to mourn. And so I want to send out condolences to those who have been mourning. I would have attended quite a few funerals over the past few weeks since I've last been on the show, And so I want to send out condolences to all of those persons. I want to send special condolences to my good doctor, Dr. Rollins, and of course to Jerome also. Both very good friends, on the passing of your brother Jimmy. Of course, somebody who's older than me, but somebody who I have had the opportunity to sit and interact with and so on. And I always found that Jimmy was a very humorous guy. So I want to send out those condolences. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. We are 10 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. Of course, you're listening to Von Radio, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, and we are going live over the airways. We are also live on Facebook, so if you want to go and see what's happening, you can certainly go on your cell phone or your computer or whatever device you have and type in to Facebook Von Radio and click on the live. If you're not on Facebook, you can certainly go on YouTube and type into YouTube Von Radio or Von Radio Live. You can click on the link and you'll see us here. And then if not, you can certainly go on the website www.vonradio.com. Of course, when we open the lines and you want to be a part of the show, numbers to call would be 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. So a lot has been happening in the Federation over the past few weeks, and of course at the top of the show I want to take the opportunity to say congratulations and to shout out Dr. Terence Drew. I think the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party would have had their annual convention I think it's Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, and they would have had a vote for leadership. Of course, whatever the circumstances were, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, who had been the leader of the party and former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, would have taken the decision that to step down as the leader of the party and to not contest for an additional term as leader. And then there was three persons who put themselves forward to contest the leadership. The persons Dr. Terence Drew, who came out the eventual winner, and Conris Maynard, and of course the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. So I want to say congratulations to Dr. Drew on winning and becoming the new leader of the Labour Party. And I would also want to send a shout out to Conris Maynard, of course, and Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley for participating. Of course, democracy is, always important on so many different levels. St. Kitts and Nevis, we pride ourselves on being a free democracy. We're a democratic nation, and we have several parties here in the Federation, and all of them, from time to time we go through leadership changes. In my own party a few years ago, the Concerned Citizens Movement, we would have had a passing of the torch from the Honorable Vance Amory to the now Premier, the Honorable Mark Brantley, of course. That was more of an uncontested passing of the torch because, of course, in CCM we all recognize the quality of leadership that we have in the Honorable Mark Brantley, who is the current Premier. And CCM, sometimes we like to say that we cause a lot of things to happen in the political landscape of the Federation. If you look at the political landscape of the Federation right now as it is, a lot of the things that are happening have been certainly influenced by the Concerned Citizens Movement and by our presence and by the strength that we have had here on the island of Nevis. And I want to thank the voting populace and the electorate here on the island of Nevis for continuing to put that confidence in the leadership of the Concerned Citizens Movement. We can't underscore how important it is to have the backing of the people of Nevis, and we do not take it for granted for even 1 second. So sometimes, while the other parties, are going through a lot of things, it's because of what's happening in CCM. We tend to feel like we can influence a lot. Certainly, we have been a big part of what happened over the last 8 to 10 years in terms of the Labour Party in politics. Of course, we know that Labour would have been in government from 1995 and would have only exited government in 2015 when the Unity Coalition came into government, the Unity Coalition of the CCM, the PAM Party, and of course the People's Labour Party. But that movement that came about over in St. Kitts with our 2 colleague parties, PAM and the People's Labour Party, it started right here in Nevis with our own movement here in Nevis with CCM, when we had the NRP in government in Nevis from 2006 up until 2011. We had an election. That election was then said to be null and void by the court. I think we like to say 5 years and 18 null and void months. I think that's the way that we normally speak about it in the Concerned Citizens Movement. So it's good to see that in the Federation that we have a healthy democracy. So, other parties have gone through leadership changes. I think our own opposition party here in Nevis would have gone through a few leadership changes since their own most recent departure from government here in Nevis. And just recently, if you see me laughing on the radio, it's not my intention to really laugh too much, but just recently you've been hearing a lot of things about the NRP. All of a sudden they start doing breakfast all over Nevis. I mean, just a few years ago we used to see the NRP in town, in the square in town, I think saying that they're handing out lunches and so on. And then election came and election passed, and all of a sudden the persons in town who they were handing out these lunches to and taking pictures and so on, photo ops with, all of a sudden the persons no longer need lunch. I don't think I've seen the people who are giving out lunch on the weekends, I think Fridays and Saturdays. I don't think I've seen them back in town at all since that. And so now we have different persons in different places across the island, and I think breakfast is now the new thing. But I'll say, if they have breakfast to give away and you're out there and you want to go and get a breakfast, go and get a breakfast. But I think I heard they were selling the breakfast. I don't know if they're raising funds or whatever it is, but I mean, we have poor people around. If they're giving away breakfast, they should give the people a breakfast. So if you can take two, because that after the election you're not going to see these folks coming around again to be giving you anything. So ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. I don't normally get into the politics so early, but I started to congratulate Dr. Jew and the other good folks in Labour. And I want to take the opportunity to say that hopefully we can see, with fresh persons coming in. I don't think Dr. Jew has been successful in elections yet, but who knows? We have deputy leaders in in Congress, who would have been successful before and then would have lost his seat. And we have Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, who's currently seated in the National Parliament, and those are now the leaders of the Labour Party. And I would hope that we would see a new paradigm from them, into the future. And certainly, from the perspective of somebody here on Nevis, that we would hear something refreshing from them in terms of, what they expect to see in terms of relationships between, both islands, how they would plan to do things if and when they were to get some sort of opportunity. We would look for some sort of paradigm shift. And of course, I would like to say some words of congratulations to the outgoing leader, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas. We haven't, always agreed on everything, but we can certainly respect the contribution that he has made to the Federation over the years, as a parliamentarian and as a former prime minister and so on, and as a leader of the opposition. He would have certainly made a contribution over many years. We probably didn't agree on some of the ways that he did certain things, especially in dealing with matters that involved Nevis and the people of Nevis and so on. And we in the Concerned Citizens Movement have always been vocal when it is that we feel that the people of Nevis are being aggrieved in any way. We have always stood up for the people of Nevis, regardless to who we feel like the persons are who are causing any type of infraction, because our primary duty, of course, is to serve the people of Nevis. We serve the entire Federation, but we are a Nevis party, of course, and our home base is here in Nevis, and we have to ensure that our people are taken care of. So we have to ensure that if something is there for the benefit of everybody in the Federation, that the folks here in Nevis, that we get our fair share. And one of the things that rubs me the wrong way, whenever I hear Nevisians start to talk about anything that the Federation has and anything that is an asset of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, anything that belongs to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because there's no country that's called St. Kitts and there's no country that's called Nevis. There's an island of St. Kitts and there's an island of Nevis, but both of them have come together to form one country, St. Kitts and Nevis. So there's no citizenship of Nevis and there's no citizenship of St. Kitts. It's citizenship of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so it always rubs me the wrong way whenever I hear anybody trying to sound smart or trying to sound intelligent, saying that something that is supposed to benefit all of the people of the Federation, that if the people of Nevis get a little bit of it, that somehow it is a handout, and recently the good folks who are in opposition here in Nevis, I guess they have not been getting any type of what's the word that I'm looking for, any type of good coverage or any type of following from the usual radio stations and so on that they use. So they have decided to now come on Van Radio. I think they have about 2 or 3 different shows over here on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, and I say kudos to them, more power to them. Come on over to Van and let the people hear you. And so recently they have come over here, and somebody sent me a clip the other day of one of them saying that the whole economic strategy for Nevis is Dr. Timothy Harris, and I laugh when I heard it. And the person who was hosting the show, the person who they have hired to sort of manage them during the show, was trying to steer the young chap in the correct direction, but even then he would not take the steering. And so now everybody is out there in the public having this thing as a big laugh around. But it really rubs me the wrong way whenever I hear Nevisians talking about that, oh, Nevis is getting some sort of handout. There's no handout. We are entitled to a share of something, and we should get it. We are to get it. It belongs to us, and nobody should withhold that from us. The problem comes in when something is being withheld. And we have never gone and asked for any taxes or conventional taxes that have come in. What we have asked for is non-tax revenue from the sale of the passport, from the CBI program. The CBI program can only be administered federally, and so therefore if it is administered and a certain amount of money comes in, then a certain amount should come to Nevis. And that is what we agreed to when we stood up on the courthouse and the Charlestown Accord was brought forward and it was signed. It said that the funds would be divvied up and shared on a pro rata basis. That means based on population. And we intend to ensure that Nevis is getting a fair share. We don't want more than our fair share. All that we want is a fair share. And so when anybody comes on the radio or comes to you privately to try to insinuate or to try to say that somehow the Nevis Island administration or the government in Nevis or the CCM government in Nevis is looking for some sort of handout, that is probably the most ludicrous thing that any right thinking and good thinking Nevisian could come up with. You know, it's one of the most un-Nevisian things to say that we don't deserve a fair share of our own patrimony, and it sort of foreshadows what these people will be if they ever get into government, because it shows that at the most fundamental and at the most basic levels that they do not have an understanding of the issues that are affecting the federation. You know, I see a lot of people going around and starting to politic and starting to talk politics as if, well, the election is going to come tomorrow. And of course, we're going to start to crank up the screws a little bit. But there is a lot of things to be said, because people have been listening to these people talk, and they take the clips. And I would urge everybody to take the clips and play them so everybody could hear what they're saying. Because I will reiterate what I said, that at the most basic and fundamental, you know, they lack an understanding of what the issues are. They lack an understanding of how the federation really operates and how things really run. So they come out and they talk a lot of what can only be described as nonsense, and expect sensible people. Expect sensible people. And we have a very sensible electorate here in Nevis. We have a very educated electorate here in Nevis, and time again the electorate has said no to nonsense, and the electorate has said yes to the concerned citizens movement. And that is what we fully expect to happen, because I think the people understand the difference with persons who are working on behalf of the people of Nevis and persons who are coming to work on behalf of whether themselves or whether some other interests. But we'll hear a little bit more about that with the passage of time. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. I got a little bit carried away there, you know. Wasn't my intention to talk a lot of politics, but hey, it's a political show, so we got to do that. And we're coming to the end of the year, and who knows, politics is on the horizon, elections is on the horizons, and you know, I mean, who knows what can happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. It's 8:30 now. I'm going to open the lines just now. The numbers to call: 869-469-1616 or 1700. We have our first caller. Caller, you're On The Mark.
Good evening, Mr. Troy.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
What you have for me tonight?
You come like you light up the fire with sulfur.
We ready to go, you know?
I know that.
We ready.
Man, once you are part of unity, you're always ready.
Of course.
You know, you're not a procrastinator. Things are going good, man. You hear the Tulo and Calypso, what the fella say?
Which
Country
Calypso?
running good?
Oh, I haven't heard it. I haven't been following the Calypso. I need to hear them.
Man, that's so sweet and bouncy and simple. Country running good. That's a road march and an economical road march. Now, I'm going to tell you something. What old people say, what start wrong, got to end wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to be careful with what come out our mouth, because you know the good book say, what come out of a person's mouth defile their body.
True.
Now, you know how the farm administration of the Federation got into office.
Mm-hmm.
Could not wait patiently for his turn. So, he created a scene by inciting people, telling the people them don't send your children to school tomorrow. Let them come check out Simmons. Dr. Simmons' party, PAM, they were legally, lawfully elected to office. And the morning, Battle and Stone, that is his story, can't done. Battle and Stone ring down Church Street. Dr. Simmons had to hold his head and run in, and police and Lego take us and all kind of thing. So that was bad. You're not supposed to take out the government that way. You take out the government by the ballot, B-A-L-L-O-T, not Battle and Stone. And now, the one for number 3, Conway, I heard him said, anything he leader tell him do, he's going to do. When you watch somebody incite violence and you're going to say anything they tell you do, you're going to do. Well, that's a stroke against Huey that. And then an elderly lady, a senior citizen then, let me put it away, a teacher, a married lady, and a Christian at that. She was on a program, which he was on the program to Congress, and they were all in debating. And he said, let she go, where she going, man? She's an old car. That's another stroke, another strike against he, future. So when he lose from government office, and then he win this election, he would have had Sondergaard with the thing, he must look back and see what come out of him out, defile he. And then now, the new one who take over, Dr. Joe, he was interviewed after that. And he tell the person asked him, well, what you gonna do? I mean, you know, you're gonna willing to work with the government, with the government. He said plain out, he don't want to have nothing to do with Timothy Harris. You gonna tell me somebody gonna pick up the mantle? You abuse the leader and say that the leader is time to go because he's a failure to the party. Okay? You win the leader and then you still pick up the mantle and run with it and say you don't want to have nothing to do with Timothy Harris. Timothy Harris is the Prime Minister of the Federation. All he had to say, yes, he's willing to work with them, and he hope they will work with him. But anyway, I got some more things to Lego, and I'm going to come back because I don't want to take up too much time. But here is something, and let me tell you this before I go. You said that, you know, it's we out here who does calling does make the show. And
Definitely.
I agree with you 100% in the world. Because today I was telling a friend of mine from Nevis, I say, you know, I noticed with a lot of people up Nevis, you all would never help Mark keep up the government, fertilize the root of the government and push it forward. If you hear Mark say something or anybody calling and say something good, call in and say, look, I support the calling, the caller they what I say. You don't have to say a load of things. But when they're going to sit down and eat popcorn and French fry and just listen with their hand in their lap and won't help. Mark, that one no Mark, so sometimes he just feel like he could talk all night because nobody calling in. So I tell him, if we think it's people down here don't call in, they show dead. So I agree with you when you say we must call in. Anyway, I'm going to come back.
This is a federal show, you know. And you
That's
know,
right.
You know this. When I'm on, you know the show can't be good if you don't call in. So.
That's right. I gonna help you keep up this government. Who doing good? I keep you up.
Yeah, so I want you call back in and tell me what happening in St. Kitts.
I gonna call back in and tell you, man.
What happening in St. Kitts affects all of us.
Definitely.
You understand? So what the Prime Minister announced today before you go in Parliament? You gone
I
already?
didn't hear all of it.
What he
Because
say about
it
the
was
VAT there? The VAT they change?
Oh, that one there. I heard it this morning only.
So what the VAT they change to?
Well, it was, what the date was, let me see, one day, and then,
I think it changed now to the 17th and the 18th.
yes, 2 days back to back.
Okay, so
Right,
for all those
that's
listening,
the difference there.
VAT day is now the 17th and the 18th.
Right,
and,
so
and
you ain't got no lunch break between the two.
exactly. And for those persons who are not vaccinated, the quarantine time has come down from 14 days to 9 days, if I'm
Yeah.
correct, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. So
But
you see,
look, there is something more powerful than a hydrogen bomb rise up there in Europe, you know.
what's that?
The other, what I call the name of them? They come so fast. The disease.
The Omicron?
I don't know
Omicron.
what the body, because that they sound like Paul. You mother come from America.
All right, you have a good night. No, remember to call back in. Call back in
Yeah,
after
man, I got
9.
something hot to talk about. What happening in the Federation?
All
Very
right.
hot.
All right, I'm going to wait on you.
Okay then. Thank you.
We have another caller? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night. I don't know what culture coming before the scripture for.
How are you?
I'm good. Proverbs 24 verse 15 and 16. Lay not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous, spoil not his resting place. For a just man falleth 7 times, and rise up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Sympathies going out to all who lose their loved ones. Culture, good night. My sheriff had a wonderful presentation over in St. Kitts today in the assembly. Culture, keep off the phone, me first, not you. Good night.
Let's stick with the lines. We have any other caller? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, good evening, Ben Six.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm taking it easy here, having a wonderful night. Outside kind of cold, but I'm happy to be in here.
And then come over to Nevis. No, yeah, I enjoy the breeze. Last month we didn't get this amount of breeze. So, I love it. It's good. That tells me Christmas is here.
Exactly.
Now, I want to say, talking about they think it's Labour Party, but I don't know that the Labour Party got any party over in Nevis, but sometimes
Of course not, but you know, that's the name.
angry me when I hear him use the word. But anyhow, yes, but what I'm saying, think it's Nevis Labour Party. If they used to treat Nevis like they are part and think it's Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Douglas might have still be the leader of the country, you know. But
They would have been a lot better off.
When we are hard-headed, cause a lot of things to happen. Yeah, I'm telling you, but listen to this. Imagine Dr. Harris went to him and talked to him about handing over leadership. And he got some of that thing when he got on the roster when he started going, I want it now. Dr. Duke do the same thing. But you didn't hear him make no push and noise about it. But now, look at the way it happened. The people rise up and they decide it's time for a change. Because what is really going on within the Labour Party is only one man cause it. And he is the problem and he cannot be the solution. More than like Dr. Douglas as a person, as a human being. But his leadership style, I for one don't like it, period. Because you won't tell me that a man being the Prime Minister of the Federation and had $1.5 billion up by our sales by investment in 2010, and by 2011 they want to take us to the IMF, go begging. Why he do with all the money? And I'm saying, God no, if we was a part of America, Douglas would have got to answer to the money, because our citizenship investment does not belong to no one man.
Exactly.
And this is the thing that bothers me. And then when our premier wants to draw down, he refused to honor the check and got our SIDF money by our citizenship by investment. Something got wrong with this man. And I hope now he's thinking, wondering what has he done, why he reached here, because I know we like to blame somebody else. But he is the problem. Over the years, if he let the Labour Party and think it belongs to him, like he probably put it on a platter and said, Denzel, this is you one. But I want to say to the people of thinking, they won't be carried away. Because I said, don't bother who go, bother who come. And I want to say to him tonight, I talked to Dr. Joe a while ago up the road. I even dapped him and I said, I hope you don't pick up Denzel's style and behave like Denzel. Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out the same way. So I want to say to the people who think it, make sure whatever we do, we think wisely. Because when we want to change government and we don't think, we end up could pick up it to bust our tail. And I want to say to you tonight, the people of Nevis, when we are doing anything, we got to first think where we're leaving to where we're going. Because at the end of the day, whatever happens, we got ourselves to blame. Not blame somebody else, we got to blame ourselves. Because when you got a good government doing things and you change it to put somebody else who going to take the same whip that you pick and beat you with it, none could be worse than that. Because our country people got to understand that the country needs a leader, not a hooligan. And as long as you're going to lead and want to lead with iron fist, this is not Cuba. We don't want that kind of stuff. We are loving people, and as long as you treat the people right, the people respect you, and make sure that you be the person to lead them in the right path. We want a captain that
they just got to watch CCM and see what CCM do, you know.
Do what it's supposed to do. God bless you.
Take care of yourself.
Well, CCM is all right.
They just got to watch CCM.
Because Mark Brantley ain't no fool, and Mark Brantley is a wise guy. He's doing what he got to do for the people of Nevis. And trust me, he's going to go from strength to strength. Don't worry about the others. The people of Nevis know a leader from a highland. God bless you. Have a good night.
You have a good night too. You have any other caller? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. You know, I just got a message. They say, what you trouble the people them breakfast for? Eh? The breakfast free. Let the people them give out the free breakfast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're On The Mark. Good night.
Good evening. Firstly, I would like to congratulate Taja Liburn on his journey to college. Second point, I think the staff at Gingerland, I think they need locking up for having a cross country at this in this pandemic and not having regular school time for the children. There is no athlete that would have been fit enough to run cross country. I don't think this is a way starting back into sports. A few weeks I called in asking about a structure into sports, reviving it into the school, and I don't think this is the way moving forward. And if we want to bring it back in a way where we're going to have the athletes, children excel, this is not the way, and we need a way forward. Third thing, to agriculture with the monkey tail business, I sent in some bills. The first one was in September. I received my money down in October after sending in 3 bills, and I haven't received all my money yet. There's nowhere where you can go and say that, okay, you've been here and that you bring a ticket. I have a ticket there for nearly $500, actually $495, and up to now, I can't get it. I can't get a call for it. That is a concern for me.
Yeah, what you need to do is go to the department.
I've been there already.
Agriculture.
I've been there already. I've checked already. I've given them my number. They haven't called. And with the monkey tail business, I don't think that should be closed off. If that is a thing where we controlling the monkey, why is it closed off in November? Because this is a way where people can make money as well, and COVID time, and you get your little money put in your pocket to Christmas and then kind of thing there. So yeah, that is me right there.
So I'm gonna put in a call to agriculture to ask about that. Okay?
Yeah,
I've made a note of it. You have a wonderful night.
Alright, same.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. I was asked to give a special shout out to Miss Violet Claxton in Pembroke, Miami, from a special friend here in Nevis. Very special birthday shout out to Violet Claxton of Pembroke, Miami, from your very special friend here on Nevis. I also want to take the opportunity to give a big shout out to my permanent secretary, Mr. Kevin Barrett, who is celebrating his anniversary today. I hope you're having a wonderful anniversary, both you and Mrs. Barrett. Do have a wonderful time. Let's stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, good night. Can I get on to the show?
Yes, you're on the show. Good night, you're on the show.
Yes, good night.
I know you're seeing your neighbor regularly.
Yes, good night, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Speak up, man. You're going like you're not accustomed to talk on the radio.
Mr.
Let the
Liburn.
people hear you.
Okay. Okay, I have a concern, sir.
Okay.
I would like to know why the people in St. John's cannot use the flat.
Cannot use the flats?
Yes,
The people in St. John's?
yes, cannot use the flat. That lock, have a lock on it. Why we can't use it?
Okay, I'm going to look into
I
that
know
for you.
a lot of leaks about this because, but why we cannot use the flat, walk around and so forth? Why we can't, why the flat have a lock on it? The partial.
Okay, I'm going to look into this.
When you are going to look into this?
I've made a note of it and I'm going to look into it.
When are you? When?
When?
Yes, I spoke to you about it before. When, sir? When? No, look, this is we're playing a game.
Me and you going to talk off the radio, man.
Man, try. Why we be St. John? We have been told go to Balpasha. Why we have been?
Who would have told you to go to Balpasha?
Try, Mr. Eric, look at the respect for us in St. John's and say we must go Balpasha go walk. And this not annoy me. That's why I call it tonight. I don't normally call it program.
All right, I'm gonna look into the matter and I'm gonna get to you off the radio tomorrow. Okay?
Tomorrow,
Yes.
Mr. Laibert.
Yes, caller.
Don't get back to me tomorrow. I'm going to put it further.
I'm gonna be back on to you tomorrow.
I'm going to go further on this. Why we in St. John's cannot use the partial?
All right, caller.
Have a good night. Man.
You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to On the Mark, straight talk across the narrows. You see, we deal with all sorts of different talk here. The good, the bad, and the in-between. And of course, this is a place where people can come to hear their views and hear their grievances. And the good thing is that when you're calling On the Mark, more often than not, you're going to either be speaking to one of the ministers or to the Premier himself. And so it provides a unique opportunity to interact with us and to get some results. And, you would normally get results. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. The show has been going fast and furious. The lines remain open, of course. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the line. We have a caller. Caller, you're On the Mark. Good night.
Troy?
Good night.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah. Tell Cutie I shall lend you my flashlight. When you come up the radio, let you go look into it for the man, you? Radio man.
He does have a legitimate complaint. So
Yeah, I know, man, I know.
It's something that we are going to look into.
It's me partner.
Oh, you pick up his voice.
Tell Cutie me say she couldn't force me on the program tonight because she drank so much cocoa tea this morning from the free breakfast that she dropped sleep. So I beat her tonight with it. Now let me go here, Troy. Something popping up in the Federation again. Popping up its ugly head. And it is not sounding good, it is not looking good, and it is not good for any country. And to top it off, it is bad for the economy of the country. And that is what you call this gun behavior. Now I notice it happening in Nevis now by the tours. Just a couple of weeks there you had two down the by the beach, dead. Right there, patow pow, dead. And then they come down thinking, not them up there, but it happened down here now. A man gets shot in the kitchen in the night after 12. He ain't dead, luckily, he ain't dead. Then he swing in another place down here in Buckley's, patow pow. A young man gets shot, he ain't dead. Then he swing back up Nevis again. Then another two again in car, but luckily them two ain't dead. So what I am saying here is this. It is time for the government to carry a bill in Parliament to be debated with a heavy penalty on people who got these kind of illegal thing here walking, doing foolishness. Because I'm going to tell you something, nobody with a licensed gun gonna go out there and do them ignorance, because they know that the gun can be traced who own it. So doing these things, it is unlicensed gun they're doing these things with, because they know they cannot be traced, because they ain't registered. So I am calling on the authorities who go in Parliament, get a bill in there, go go debate, deal with these people. And they're doing this thing because there is no penalty to make them feel scratch or ball. They need something heavy to make them say, boy, no, I can't think about that. He do me something, and when I meet him, I'm going to box him. I'm going to argue with him until we hold on. Me ain't going to look for nobody with a gun. Meaning that. So I'm asking them again, this penalty, what they say they got in there for people with unlicensed weapon and who use them. They ain't no penalty. They may look ice cream with all the topping on it. So they got to come better than that. Otherwise, but these things ain't gonna stop, you know. And remember in the Bible, you know, they tell you if you shed a man blood innocently, you weren't supposed to be shed too. But I try, I will come back. You got any comment on that?
You know, this gun violence thing is something that we've been talking about for quite a while.
Yeah.
There was a little while in 2020 and 2021 where we saw the gun violence go, you know, way down.
Right.
From where we had 30 something and so on in a year dying to where, you know, the numbers came, you know, down. And but over the past few months we have seen that it started to rear its head again. We had the whole incident down on Penny's Beach where 2 young men lost their lives senselessly. We had an incident prior to that in Charlestown where 1 young man lost his life, you know, quite senselessly again in town. And so we've seen that it started to creep back in, and so we all as a society have to, you know, come together and say, no, we don't want this type of thing in our society.
That's right.
The government has instituted a program that many people have been calling the peace program or the peace initiative or whatever they would want to refer it to. And I've heard so many different things about the initiative, you know, some good, some bad.
Yeah, but try listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's only worthless minded people not interested in this peace initiative thing, you know, because they're worthless. In the 70s I used to drive with the government, with the health department, and when the clinics yard want cleaning, the superintendent from North with my boss, she would send them to the prison and ask them if they could send some prisoners to clean the clinic. And me was the driver to go pick them up, and it's 5 prisoners used to go along with the prison officer. And when I see what the man they had to eat for lunch, I take my own money and ask the officer if I could go and buy something for them man to eat. And I go around the shop and I buy something better than what I see the man they walk with from in the prison for lunch. And a lot of them man say, buy when me get out in here them, when me get out in here, I mean I come back in here and me go away. So something supposed to be there to deter people from doing the crime, but nothing there to deter them, because they go in there and they live better than how they live out here. So they're okay. They ain't care about nothing. Imagine one time India they had a political heated meeting, and I hear Dr. Douglas on the platform say, see there, the basketball team in prison from St. Paul, they just beat another team. Here they're on the thing boasting because it's privilege. And if the punishment in there was harsh, a lot of them would not have go in there. They don't care. Once they got a gun, they say, "Buy me gun, go shoot, go rob the man who gonna go bake bread in the morning." Hit him a bullet, tell him about where the money. The man say, "Man, they don't need flour in here. What money you talking about?" Pow! 2 weeks on the man dead in the hospital, and the shooter alive eating good food. Them thing can't be happening. He's supposed to be hung, cause he went in there deliberately and killed a man. I mean, it's a difference when 2 of you argue and you hold and tackle and you hit one of the box and you take it serious and go dead. But when you gonna take a big gun and go look for me, and they hit me a bullet because me and you argue over a foul. Come on, man. Me supposed to be dead too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I come back again.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. Do we have another caller? Okay. You know, I didn't even come here to talk too much about the gun violence, but it's something that, you know, we can't get away from it, and it's something that anytime it rears its ugly head, that we have to really rebuke it. There is absolutely no place for that type of behavior in our society. I don't think that could be overstated. Our economy is driven by tourism, and to have an event like that happen, to have an incident like that, and happen on Penny's Beach, which that's a place where so much of our tourists and so on go. I don't even want to talk too much about that. But anytime we have gun violence and so on, it's something that's a big black spot on our island. It's a big black spot on our federation, and we really, really, really can't tolerate those type of things. I don't like, generally, we go to funerals to celebrate the life of persons who we know and we love when they pass away. I really, really, really don't like going to young people funeral, especially persons who were cut down by gun violence and so on before they could have really gotten to the prime of life where they could have really contributed to society. Some of these people talented and so on, and they would have really had a lot to offer to us as a federation, and we won't get the opportunity to see them. So that is something that is never easy to handle. That's always something that is a tough pill to swallow. And so as much as we can do to root out and to take out gang violence and gun violence and so on, we as a federation have to do that. We have to say that there is no place for that type of thing. We can't harbor those who are the ones who are going out and perpetrating these crimes, because the crimes are not just against the victim or the person who gets shot. The crimes are against the entire society. The crimes are against the family and the loved ones who are left to mourn, and all of us, because it affects all of us. Our way of life is put under threat by these type of things. We already are the victims of the situation, dealing with COVID and so on, and to have to deal with these type of things on top of that, it's just a double whammy or triple whammy or whatever you would want to call it. But it's something that is really, really not nice. And I would have thought that a while back we had turned the corner and that we were moving in the right direction, or we were moving in a better direction, and we should not regress. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yeah, good evening. One way which I think that could ease is entrepreneurship, because if you realize most of the violence takes part from people who support in the lower grades. Well, the fish farmers and the sport farmers, they would do safety and move on to acquire good jobs, better jobs than those in the HE stream. But then if you have entrepreneurship where you teach skill development in schools, the children will support with a skill and maybe an NCE or CAPE subject or something of that sort. So I think that skill development need to be introduced into the schools, because right now COVID coming and you need to find ideas and they need to be creative, and people who really can do things need to pass on what they can do. And so that was one way I think it could start off, because if you deal with the older ones who don't get in the ignorance, it never happen, because they can always fool you and tell you but we are not really mean so you have to work from the future come up, the younger ones and come up. So I think entrepreneurship are one way you could kind of start with that.
Thank you very much, Carl. I tend to agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I tend to definitely agree with the sentiments put forward by that caller, and indeed the government has been looking to go into that direction. Of course, I think everybody around here would have been hearing over the past few years about the TVET project, the Technical and Vocational Education and Training project that we have been implementing here in the Federation. And if you go up to the Gingerland Secondary School right now, you would see that there is a new building that has been completed up there, and that building is for TVET. And we expect, I think the contractor should be handing over the building anytime now, and we expect to start utilizing that immediately. Persons would be able to learn things such as cosmetology, and we've actually had some persons go overseas to study cosmetology, the young girls and so on who are interested, and let's not be sexist, the guys too who might be interested. They will learn how to do hair and nails and all of those things that we see the young ladies are into nowadays, all of the makeup and those type of things. So they're going to learn to do it professionally, and they would be given what you call a CVQ or an NVQ upon completion of the various courses. And of course we would also teach electronics and electrical work, and of course persons will come out of school with their qualifications, the NVQ or the CVQ qualification. So when they leave Nevis or St. Kitts and they go to other islands or anywhere in the world, they will be able to walk with that piece of paper to say that they are qualified at whatever the level is. They would be qualified whether as somebody who can do plumbing, somebody who can do masonry, somebody who can do woodworking, and so on. So they would come out of school with those competencies. And of course we're also looking to extend this to persons who are already in the workforce and already skilled in the things that they do, whether they're a skilled plumber or skilled electrician or whatever the case may be, that they would be able to have that paperwork. I know that we have a lot of skilled tradesmen here in Nevis and in the Federation as a whole, but let's say they have to leave the Federation to go somewhere else to pursue that type of work or to pursue their craft. They don't have the paper to go out there with to say, hey, I'm an electrician and I'm certified to whatever degree, so they can go out there and command a certain scale of wage, or they can go out there and charge at a certain rate because they have the competency and they have how much ever years of experience. They have it, but they don't have the paper to say that they have it. And so the TVET program, what we are looking to do is to bring to you that paper to say, yes, I am who I say I am and I can do what I say I can do. So I want to agree with the caller. I think what he has called in and said has really made a lot of sense, and if we can get persons gainfully employed, then we can try to keep them off the street. Let's go back to the line. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yeah, I'll come back again now. Yeah, I forget to say good evening to some great people in Nevis. Honorable Mr. Brantley, Honorable Mr. Amory, Honorable Eric Evelyn, and Colin Archibald, and Mr. Agriculture himself. You know who that is?
Who's that?
Mr. Agriculture, the man of agriculture.
Tell me who that, and tell the people who that. The people want to know.
Mr. Alexis Jeffers. He is Mr. Agriculture. He has been doing a great job since he took that position.
Definitely.
But, yeah, we have something here now. Everything, the big talk always is that, the advice is that let us do a lot of backyard garden, right? A lot of people doing a lot of backyard garden. But while you to the front doing your work, the monkey them in your backyard eating your garden. Well, I have a suggestion for them, because it come like this monkey trapping business ain't fast enough. Because the farmers them losing more than what they're supposed to gain. But this monkey, when they pass, any little green tree they see come up out there, they're gonna pull it up to see what underneath. You plant your thing them and you go home and sleep in the morning, you go up and check them and water them. Everybody lie down flat dead, monkey pull them up. What they need to do is have a little open space in the area. Not that people would go there and get trapped up in it. And put some food that can attract the monkey them from a distance. and the more monkey gather up there, then you just blow up a lot of them. Blow them up, and why you gonna blow them up with cannot spread out nowhere and affect the neighborhood. It's just a little technique, but I wouldn't say it on the radio. It's a little technique that you could kill 50 at a blow. Cause once they gather up around the food what they like, then you just do what you got to do and you blow them up. Because this kind of gun thing and limited who could shoot and who can't shoot, they ain't doing nothing to the monkey them. They ain't not doing a thing. And you know what they do to them? Mash up a lot of people house roof. If you got a mango tree over your house and they go up in the tree and they see you coming out whatever and they jump down on the tree and you ragadam, this girl will not sink down from the nail head and cause your house to leak. So then they need that kind of strategy what I got for them. But like I tell you, I have to have a license to say it on the radio. Any comments before I hang up?
You know, the monkey thing is a sort of ticklish thing. We've tried several different things. I know definitely here in Nevis the monkey population is huge, and so the Ministry of Agriculture and the government as a whole has been trying a lot of different things to deal with them. I guess we just got to keep on trying things, and I know that most persons who are into farming and so on now, they have come up with ways to keep the monkeys out. Sometimes you think you're keeping them out, you put up the electric fence and so on. I've actually watched monkeys run over the electric fence and they take the little sting and they run out, you know, because it's a little 12-volt electric fence. After they go over it once or twice and they get the sting, they realize the sting doesn't do them that much, and I've seen them, you know, running over the fencing, or they go through the fencing, they take the little sting and then they off.
I'm gonna tell you something now. I'm gonna tell you something about them. They're so smart, you hear? Them they know just pole vault over fence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They realize what happened there, and they watch people. They're very sensible. A woman they live close to us one time there. And she know she got one child and one gone school, 2 children, one gone school and she home with the other one. Just sleep on she bed, giving the child suck. When she there alone, when we wake up, she took breast suck. The child from one and a monkey from the other one.
You serious?
I'm telling you. Monkey, she borrowed more than the monkey run out the house and she shut the door. And after that she moved from in the area there. So they well smart, well I'm going to tell you a trick now how to kill them. Since they threw a defense and they really defense shocking them and the French ain't killing them, all you need is a container with a long wire away from you and they can't see you. And you hook up the wire there electrically, and on the other end where the food is, you have some liquid there in a container. Study out how we work. That is what you call an Iraq, and Afghanistan, a Beirut, Lebanon.
I hear you.
You clean up 50 at a blow.
I think I understand where you're coming
Okay
from.
then.
That is not for the radio.
No, you went to school, so you know to work some arithmetic and math.
Alright.
Okay.
You have a wonderful night.
Right, okay then.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. Straight talk across the narrows is 10 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. I love doing this show, you know, because you get to interact with people from all different walks of life. You know, the lines remain open. The numbers to call 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. You know, here in the Federation, we've had it's been a kind of trying time over the past 2 years, especially. I remember in 2019 when we did the budget, you know, I became Minister of Education in December 2017, so we had 2018, 2019, and we were getting ready to do a lot of exciting things. You know, I think I was really looking forward to 2020. I remember late in 2019, we had heard that the Four Seasons Resort were predicting that they were going to have one of their best what they call it, festive seasons, and and that the season was going to last sometime down until May in 2020. They had a lot of bookings, so we were getting ready for a real bumper season, and we were saying we were feeling bullish here in Nevis that we were doing good. The federation as a whole were doing good, but we felt really good here in Nevis that we were about to, sort of shoot off and do a couple things. And then out of the blue, in February, we start hearing about this thing called COVID-19, coming out of Wuhan in China. I had never heard of Wuhan before. Of course, we all know about China, but I'd never heard about the city of Wuhan. So we started hearing about this COVID coming out of the city of Wuhan, and nobody really knew exactly what it was, exactly what the extent of it was going to be. And then we started hearing about people having these really terrible flu-like symptoms and getting pneumonia and so on, and then people started dying. The death rate started going up, persons in the United States and so on. And then we had, for the first time ever, I think, flights from China were stopped, and then and you progress a little bit, and something happened that certainly in my lifetime I had never seen that before. We had declared a state of emergency, and then we had lockdowns. So everybody had to be home on lockdown. I think in the first instance we had about a week or 2 weeks of days when you were home, and then days when you can go to the supermarket, and everybody had to be lining up. I remember one morning, the first supermarket morning, I went over to Best Buy in Gingerland, and I think I got there like maybe 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And I got there at 6 o'clock in the morning. The line was already coming across the road by where the gas station is there. It was already a long line, and people were in their masks, and people were trying to stay 6 feet apart. And note I said trying to stay 6 feet apart. And it was a real confusing time because nobody really knew where we were going to go, and the whole world was just plunged into a situation that in our lifetime, and certainly since the world has been so industrialized and so built up, and communication has been where it is, where you can pick up a cell phone and speak to anybody around the world, that we had never seen the world stop like that. Imagine that every day thousands and thousands of aircrafts in the sky at the same time, carrying people from all corners of the earth to all different corners of the earth. All of that just stopped. At least 90% of it just stopped one time. Imagine the boats and so on traveling. All of that stopped. It is something that we had never seen before, and COVID did it. And we fast forward a bit, and the scientists, in a relatively short space of time, they were able to come up with these vaccines. We first saw, I think it was Moderna, who came up with the first viable vaccine candidate, and then not so long after, the company BioNTech, who partnered with Pfizer, came up with a vaccine candidate. Both of those were vaccines using a new technology, the mRNA technology. And then we had Oxford University in England come up with their vaccine, and they partnered with AstraZeneca to make that vaccine. Here in the Federation, we initially had some of that Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine that we got thanks to the Indian government, and we were able to get vaccines in a relatively short space of time. And some persons all around the world said, hey, vaccines normally take X amount of years to come out. These vaccines, they came out really quick, so we don't trust the vaccines. And we started to hear all sorts of different talk about vaccine and this and that. And in the meantime, the world economy continued to spiral. So we missed most of the 2020 tourist season, and then 2019 coming into 2020, and then we get to December in 2020 and we're still in the same situation. So we miss that tourism season. And you know that tourism here in Nevis is our biggest driver, and even over on St. Kitts now to some extent, because you have cruise tourism over on St. Kitts. So all of that was stopped. And then, you know, we got the vaccines and some persons started going out. We had the cabinet members over on St. Kitts who went and took their vaccines and did it on television, and then the following day we had the cabinet members here on Nevis, including myself, and I'm a skeptic. Normally I'm a skeptic, and we went out and we took our vaccines, the first jab, and it was on television. I think the Premier was the first person to take his. I got mine. I don't normally like to take injection, but I got mine. I never felt anything when I got it. And then a few weeks after, we went back and we got our vaccines. I think it was on the 5th of May. So we got our second jabs on the 5th of May. I remember that because it's just before my birthday. It's just prior to my birthday. And some people were telling me, "Boy, you're really going to go take the vaccine just prior to your birthday? Suppose something happens." I'm like, what's going to happen? You know? Because vaccines are something that we've been taking for many, many years. I remember as a child, you go to the health center and you get vaccinated. Everybody would come down from school and they would line you up, and you go inside the health center and you get your vaccination. And those of us from, years ago, we still have that little mark on our shoulder from the vaccine that we would have gotten. There was a particular vaccine that would leave a mark, and we still have our mark. And so, fast forward to where we are now. We have a caller? Okay, we have a caller. Let's go back to the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, we're listening.
Yeah, a little concern. I have a little question to ask.
Sure.
When the fishermen them in Charleston gonna get some relief and the pier, because we have boats down there, we've been getting called that push it coming in, and we have to move from the pier. Now that's our life, that's some of us livelihood. When nothing working on the land, when we see. So I think it's about time that the fishermen in Charleston get some relief.
And that's this small pier that's over where you come straight down the road.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's either that or we need something. We need something, because I think it's unfair that the coast is coming, of course, but then the local guys have to move where they're gonna dock, where they're gonna do the gassing, the fueling up of the boat and all those other stuff.
So I've made a note of it, and I'm certainly gonna raise it with the Minister of Agriculture. If he's not already listening to the show and has taken a note himself, I'll probably raise it with him by tomorrow. And one thing about the Minister of Agriculture, he get on things really, really fast, and so I expect that you'll have some sort of answer in sooner rather than later. We'll have an answer on when there's going to be some action on that. I certainly understand where you're coming from. We really have to look out for our fisher folk. I've been out on a few boats now and again, and having that experience, I don't fully understand, but I have an idea of what it takes to be out there on the water, and so I have a lot of respect for guys who go out and earn a living out there on the water.
All right, sir.
Okay, caller. You have a wonderful night.
You too. Yeah, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark So I was telling a little story about the whole COVID-19 experience and the whole vaccine experience, the whole build-up. And I think I was saying that us in government, we went out and we got vaxxed because we wanted to lead from the front, of course, and to lead by example and show the people that the vaccines, of course, are safe, and that the vaccine is probably the best way that we know to get us back to where we want to be. So we heard the scientists come out with different things. We heard about herd immunity and so on, where we were trying to get to 70% of the population, to get 70% of the population fully vaxxed, in an effort so that we can try to open up and so on. And then as time went along, we started to hear about different variants of the COVID virus. We heard about Alpha, then we heard about Gamma, then we heard about the one that everybody seemed to be afraid of, the Delta virus, which has now become the dominant strain all around. And here in the Federation, we heard about the Lambda variant, which is from South America. I think is very prevalent in places like Argentina and so on, and that seems to be the dominant strain that we have here in the Federation, the Lambda. So some of these variants are classified by the World Health Organization as being very serious, and then some of them are considered to be a little bit less serious. But more recently now, we've heard about what they call the Omicron variant. So basically what the World Health Organization did in naming all of these viruses, they chose the Greek letters, and I think the next letter that was up was supposed to be new, but they decided to skip new because new sounds like new. Okay, so it's a Greek letter, but it sounds like something new. So if they said new, the new variant, then people might think that they're saying new, which is NEW, but it's not actually new. It's the Greek letter new. So they decided to skip that, and then they decided to also skip the the letter she, because she sounds probably like somebody's name. And since the origin of this whole COVID thing is China, we all know who the leader of China is, Xi Jinping. So he didn't want to cause any type of confusion, so they skipped new and they skipped she, and they went to Omicron. The thing about this particular variant that makes it very, very disturbing, disturbing to pretty much everybody, is because with the other variants that the scientists have seen, those variants had maybe 5-10 different mutations, and the mutations would be in different places. With the Omicron variant now, they have discovered that there are over 50 mutations on this variant of the COVID-19 virus, and so it has caused a lot of alarm. They started finding the variant in South Africa. It was first identified in South Africa sometime in last month, but in doing retrospective analysis on persons who have tested positive, who have traveled to and from the Southern Africa area in recent times, they have found that the variant has been in places like Switzerland and so on since I think early in November or late in October. And so many places now we are seeing this Omicron variant showing up. It's in Canada, it's in Switzerland, I think Australia, it's in a few places in Europe, and so a lot of countries have now raised the alarm. I think Israel has stopped all travel. Places like the United States have stopped travel from southern African countries. the UK and Australia, and we've seen many countries who have now stopped travel from southern African countries. And so basically, with the coming of this new variant, we have seen that the world has sort of stepped back into kind of panic mode, because this variant is quite different from many of the other variants. And we've been told by the scientists that most of the persons who they have seen with the variant, that their illness has been, you know, on the mild side. But scientists are still very concerned, because over 30 of the mutations that they have seen with this variant of the virus, the mutations are, over 30 of the mutations are on what they call the spike protein. And the spike protein are actually what attach to the human cells and allow the virus information or the viral information inside of the human cells. So that is how the virus connects to the body. So this Omicron variant is a real cause for concern. We have a caller on the line. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, Brother Troy.
How are you?
I see you good, man. Let me tell you something. During me and you conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize I have to call the word. Unfortunately, you call it to me because me can't get it pronounced.
You see, I want to do a little explaining, you know, because I think that some folks around here have gotten very complacent about the COVID-19, and around here we things have started to open up a bit, and so we are getting a little bit more relaxed. Every time I look on my phone, I see a flyer for some sort of event, some sort of dance or something happening, and we don't want folks to be complacent.
No.
We want people to go out and get vaccinated. It's still important for persons to go out and get vaccinated. We now have the Pfizer vaccine, and the Pfizer vaccine is approved for persons 12 years and older. So our students who are of high school age and so on, they can go out and get vaccine.
Look, the fight ain't finished yet until the last bell in the last round ring, you know. And a lot of people drop the guard. Hold up the guard. You don't know when your opponent going to leg up an unexpected punch. Hold it up. Now listen here. China, Russia, and America, those three, they always vying to see who could be the leader of the world. And we know definitely China will do anything to conquer. How come this virus ain't spring up in Russia? Why must it be in war and China? Because China tell us as well, they feel like they're more economically advanced than America. So them supposed to rule. Well, that little city where in China, something originated there. Well, how that they get to all over the world, like the sun shining all over the world, and people got to use so much of precaution to keep that away from them. So that tells me now that they're going to do what they've got to do to see if they could kill out the whole of the American all over the world, and them they come and rule. And you know, you got some people, they know how it go, but they just bent and hate in America. That a lot of them saying is America plan this thing. How America could plan it and it's China it happen? Talk the truth, people, and stop be like that. America ain't plan nothing. America can plan it and he kill off nearly half America. It happened in China and he get where and he reach start with America first. And then he trickle down all over the world. So I don't know, some people just chat some ignorance.
But you know, where I was trying to get at,
yeah,
the direction that I'm going is the importance of the vaccine, because we are mostly seeing that these variants are occurring in populations that are unvaccinated, and so the the virus is able to replicate in those bodies, the persons who are not vaccinated and persons who are, immune compromised and so on, and is able to really replicate itself, and that's how you end up with these variants. Because in persons who are vaccinated and so on, if you become exposed to the virus, then your body is already predisposed to how to fight the virus, so the virus does not get to replicate itself so much, and therefore the opportunities for mutation to happen, the opportunities are very, very small. But in persons in areas where we have a large population of unvaccinated persons, the virus is able to spread, and the virus is also able to replicate itself uncontrolled in the bodies of those persons who are unvaccinated, and that's where these variants are coming from, and that is a real cause for concern.
Sense alone could tell anybody that. Sense alone. It's just like the human being trying to avoid mosquito biting you, and you spray some solution on your hand. I ain't gonna call him to advertise nothing. You spray some kind of solution on your hand. The mosquito smell it yet, but the mosquito mean, hey, partner, unless you hit me a lash to kill me, I'm going to find me way through you and I'm going to penetrate and suck your blood. That's how we look at it. That's how we look at it.
Sometimes I've heard people say that, every time you guys go on the radio, you keep talking about vaccination. And the reason for it is because it's important. My job is to be part of the government, which means that we're trying to run the island, and we're trying to look at the big picture, and so that is the reason why we have to harp on the vaccination. I mean, I would like to see all of our high school students here on Nevis go out and get vaccinated. Or the most of them, those that you don't have some issue and the doctor does not tell you that you can't get vaccinated. And one of the things, while I'm on that topic about the doctor, one of the things that I've heard a lot of persons say here in Nevis is, me now go take no vaccine because me have underlying conditions, or I have underlying conditions, so I'm not going anywhere to take any vaccine. And I keep saying to persons who I hear say this, that you are the one who need the vaccine more than anybody else. Because with your underlying condition, if you get exposed to the COVID virus, then you might be in some trouble, more trouble than somebody who perhaps has a healthy immune system and does not have any underlying conditions. So it's a persons who have underlying conditions who really, really, really need to go out and get vaccination.
You know what is COVID doing? While he's traveling, he's looking for soft spots.
Exactly.
And once you realize you see a soft spot, you go in there, go penetrate.
And we don't know where the soft spots are.
That's right.
That's the thing about it, because I might believe that I am healthy. Okay? I might believe that, I'm healthy and everything is good about me, and the COVID might catch me and throw me down. And I might be looking at somebody and saying, well, he's not healthy or she's not healthy. And they catch the COVID and they're okay. So we really, really do not know. It's random and it's chance, but we have seen that persons with underlying conditions that have certain NCDs and so on, that they are more prone to getting really, really sick, after being exposed to COVID. And with Omicron now, this new variant, we have to be very cautious, because Omicron now has over 50 mutations, and over 30 of them are in the spike proteins. Most of the vaccines that have been made to recognize the spike protein.
Maybe someone else want to get in. Let me hang up here.
All right. You take care. So most of the vaccines that have been, manufactured to deal with COVID-19, they have been manufactured to target the spike proteins on the outside of the vaccines. And because this new variant now has over 30 mutations on the spike protein themselves, the scientists are a bit wary about its ability to bypass the vaccines. We have a call on the line. Let's go back to the line. Caller, you're on.
Hello, good night.
Hello, good night. How are you?
The sickness come out of Wuhan, China.
Mm-hmm.
The place the American people had a lab deal. Not China trying to kill nobody, American. Just look how we are. University down here for people, you know, like we got Rush University.
Mm-hmm.
They're from here, they only born here, they come down here and they build something here for them to use.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Culture say it wrong. The people them from the state who build it there, they show you and already have it. And it's something, sorry, get out the lab and just get away, and up to now there's disease just dropping like a bomb. And moderate typhoid. If you really building up the system, like using fruits, you know, using your vitamins, I don't think you need a vaccine and use your mask.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think the vaccine is necessary?
I know one and a town, a team of the Premier $1 million.
Why you say that?
For what? Me feel good to take it to go to Kemi.
So you've had COVID?
Underlying sickness. That's the time I carry you home. I went on with the listening, but on the car, nearly got take it now in a hurry. If you got underlying sickness, you go home, but you say, what?
Yeah, but what about...
When I go doctor?
What about if you have an underlying issue and you get exposed to COVID?
High cholesterol, that's a no fat in my blood, that's too much of a thing. That is where a lot of people pass off because should they meet that, should the vaccine meet that, you just send them in ICU and afterward that was the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not thinking it. I feel good at my age. I nearly sure could be your mother because maybe you're just 50 something. So
I'm a lot less than that.
Huh?
I'm a lot less than that.
Well, so much better. So, I feel good at my age going up to 70. I am not touching it for no painfully. Alright? All you gotta do, you use the vitamins and you make sure you drink your bush. A lot of bush here, a lot of bush, you know, I just come up with a remedy. Somebody just bring a remedy the other day, about 2 weeks ago.
A COVID remedy?
Huh?
A remedy for COVID?
Well, in my big up fight COVID and everything because I had a pain in my left elbow. I ain't remember no time, I can't recall no time I was knocked. Like put it up on anything and the thing was paining me like when somebody lash you with a piece of stick.
Mm-hmm. So you want to share the remedy with me now because I have a little backache. I want to know what to do.
Yeah, they give me your number privately, then I share it with you.
Oh, privately?
Yeah, and then when you look, that person and that touch will just see all around. Anybody they tell me in my wireless gym that you could drink, I tell him no man, that poisonous. And that heal me. And it's still like I was still getting a little lighter pain from it. And I tell the person that Saturday they'll bring some more for me here and I drank it Monday yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And feel good again.
And you don't have any pain now?
I need no whatever you call it,
vaccine or paracetamol?
No, nothing. You got to walk and you know how much bush was around here playing with? You know up Nevis here, you know the neem, them load of neem tree?
Mm-hmm.
Them they are good to use. Right? You got maybe a lot of other bush up there, you know, washerwoman they call it.
Mm-hmm.
They call it main apply, call it washerwoman up there.
Yeah.
All them they're good to use. You know, a lot of other things. We got a lot of bush here to use. No drugstore manager won't get the money out of my car. I know, you know, hog meat, you know the thing I used to call French trade?
Yes.
I am the good pressure them to use. Yeah?
The French trade is good for pressure.
Oh, you mean?
I need to try it.
I only the other day when I went to buy somebody 2011 or 12, they tell me this thing goes to my mother. And I don't try it and drink it. Yeah, we got a lot of bush around here, you know. But what happened, these people come with their foreign drugs and just drugging you up. And if you're half mental, you're fully mental. As I get, well, I know at the bush. Bush, I never look at bush here. Look at tree, I know that there's some trail coming up.
So you're not going to tell me which bush that is?
Special thing and all. I know Christmas and I know that they could use that the good, you're crazy. I ain't going to me say, for my body, I just went down doctor over here, the African doctor, they about 2 weeks ago. And I just began give me some vitamin. That's all I want, to my heart good and everything good. We got to take care of ourselves. You ain't take care of yourself, nobody will take care of it for you. And right now it's horrible. I don't have to come over there and get a horrible doctor over 300, this, 100, much me. People say, they come over there, come give me, yeah? I could use my own horrible. You have a good night. Your son, I will listen after you.
Alright, you too, but I want you to tell me what a special tree is.
We got it here. We didn't need no farmers to things. But a lot of young people want, we can't do, all is very good. First of all, I asked your grandmother when she go home today, because maybe she nearly old like me. All is very good. And then I get her, we good remedy about the all. We used to talk about, you used to blend it and, put orange juice in it, no way. Just a simple thing. You dry it and you drink it, what more you want. Take that swelling out of your feet and so. I saw my mother die with it and me and die with it. You call it, what they say, gangrene? Okay.
Gangrene?
Oh, you mean? I said that deal, I should get down because they don't know when they see it, so your foot start to dry up, they don't know it's a problem, your blood can't circulate anymore. We got a lot of things, we don't need no foreign stuff, no tablet, no kind of tablet.
I want you to consider something for me though. I know that you want to go natural and all of that, right? But I like talking to you and so on, and I want you to tell me about that bush. But I also want you to consider getting that vaccine and protecting yourself from COVID-19. That's what I would like. That's what I would like you to consider. You're gonna consider that for me. You're gonna even think about it.
People don't reach home. People don't reach home. As they reach in front, they do the flat out. I beg your hard with the vaccine.
Just consider it.
I tell them my body feel good. How much percent I tell you? 200%. I wouldn't say one.
Alright, but I want you to consider it.
I'm going for 70. As soon as 70, I feel good.
And we want you to be around for a long time.
They don't want it.
Okay.
You know how much that they don't carry home? They know how much some they bring good, some they carry. I believe what happened to a lot of me, that thing again they put out your nose, that is a bad thing again. Nothing you can't breathe.
The mask?
Huh?
The mask?
No, the rest.
Oh, the respirator?
Yeah, that's the one kill a lot of people too. Because when you're in and out, and you see this mask, when you go in town, you pull up your mask. If you're on a bus, when you reach by yourself, you just pull it down in your nose. Because you'll be getting carbon dioxide in and out. All of that, they're bad, but your mask is good. And only the mask we really want, we really want a vaccine. We want the mask, we're going to think, I really see. When they bring up this thing, I never noticed until they start to speak about it last day. When you're talking, I got the phone near to my mouth, you really see the droplets really coming out your mouth and top the phone. And other people, sometimes when they're talking to you, they say, don't spray me. And that is what will make you get sick from other people. But when you put on your mask, I always got my mask. You might call a taxi, I got my mask. I ain't playing a mask, it's good, but keep it under your nose after a certain time, not over your nose. You're killing yourself slowly but surely.
Alright.
Okay, well, you have a good night.
You have a wonderful night, and when you get a chance, I want you to tell me about that nice bush that you say for the pain.
What's your name? I see you in my Brantley's place tonight. What's your name?
My name is Troy Libert.
Oh, child, I'm talking
Yes.
Mr. Troy.
All right. You have
I'm
a.
going to share no amazing not some man.
Oh,
Bang
okay.
them out on the ear.
Okay. You have a wonderful night, eh?
Yeah, you too. South up and all them, they go. South up and them. And you call it again papaya. Well, more with them there. Oh, vaccine.
All right. You take care of yourself, right? Have a wonderful night. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. We've had a good time tonight. It's about 15 minutes to the designated 10 o'clock hour. So if you're going to call in, now is the designated time. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. I want to take the time to continue to plead to our people, okay, to go out and get vaccinated. The vast majority of the population has already gone out and done what I would say is the right thing. You know, we want to work with everybody else, work with the country, do what's in the best interest of the country, do what's in your own best interest. We've seen all of these different variants coming about. The variants, they need two things. They need people who are unvaccinated, and they need people who are immunocompromised, so that the virus can, you know, use the body as a machine to replicate itself. And during all of those replications, we get some mistakes happen, and that's how we come up with these various variants and so on. All that it is, it's a mistake in replication, and one of the mistakes catch on that it is easier, you know, it does something that the body is not expecting, and then that one is able to replicate itself even faster, and that's how we end up with all of these big variants. So we want to try to stop that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We have a caller. You're on the line.
Brother Troy,
Yes, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. You know the good book said knowledge shall increase. When your mother send you to school first, you go from grade 1 right up to grade 5 in school, and a teacher stands in front of the class, and the teacher would teach the class what the class don't know, but they should know. Then after grade 5, then you come out of the school and you go to a higher learning institution, which is college. And then you step up again and you go university. Well, if people used to go to sidewalk to learn, you know the amount of dumbbell the world will have in? Because sidewalk teaching, it them say, them say ain't gonna about paper, nobody know when them the ban. But I can tell you something now. Where did the COVID embryo started? Where was it originated? In America or in China?
Well, it first came out of China. That seems to be the origin of
That's
it.
right. But there is a word. When you put the 3 first letters in each 3 word, you know what you get? COW, cow. Cow, not the one that give milk. Cow means the book of Collins, the book of Oxford, and the book of Webster. You know what them 3 books are?
The dictionaries.
Okay then. And if you don't know the meaning of a word, one of those 3 books will tell you the meaning of a word. The word originated is a serious word. It signifies when something started, and when it started, that's where the embryo was created. So, brother, if one doesn't know how to use the 5 senses that God gave us, look, you'll be walking in the street like a crab, going on a head. Crab got eyes, but they ain't on a head. And We got to learn from those who know more than us. That's why the knowledge increase and man study the human body. You study it, and once they study the human body and they qualify themselves, like, you pass to go and look after Yaz. You pass to look after Bigfoot. Then we have to adhere to what they say. We have to comply when they say something. So, I know what I'm saying about, what I'm talking about. My information come from who know far more than me. I will never reach the amount of knowledge that those people who I listen to get information. I listen to news that come from all over the world. I don't listen to nothing on no sidewalk. I'm above that. Sidewalk teachers that them say. Anyway, you continue, try.
All right, you take care. You know, that is so true, that we have people who go out and they study hard and they make themselves expert in the various fields, and you know, we have to respect what they do. We really have to respect what people do. Like I normally say, when people talk to me about the vaccine and they say that how they get to make them vaccines so quickly and so on, and you know, and that the vaccine did not get any time to test and this and that. And I like to use a cell phone as my reference, because every year we get different cell phones coming out. Those persons who into the Android, every year you get the new Samsung phones come out, and every year there's some sort of improvement over the one from the year before. Those who are into Apple, I think we're up to the Apple 13 now, and every year there's something different from the year before. And every time the new one comes out, we might have the 11 or we might have the 12, and we want to grab the 13. But how many of us take time to reflect and think about, let's say 2010, if we're old enough, and what a cell phone looked like in 2010, and compare it to what a cell phone looked like in 2020, and we can see that it's a vast difference. We can see that, you know, you cannot compare them, and that's only over a 10-year span. Now, what about those persons who are out there and they are studying in the biomedical field and so on, and the field of biology and so on? Are we not thinking that by the same measure their knowledge is increasing on a similar scale? The knowledge is increasing. So the knowledge that persons would have had in 1970 something or 1980 something or 1990 something to create vaccines and so on in those times, and to create medication and so on in those times, and to actually look at the human body and to analyze the human body, and to look at viruses and analyze the viruses and so on. The knowledge that they would have had 30 years ago is nowhere close to the knowledge that they have in these times. And in the same way as they are doing with computers and cell phones, it's the same way that they're doing with biomedical engineering and biomedical science. It is a specialty, and it is a special field. So these guys are out there and they are looking under their microscopes and using their computers and so on, and they are out there figuring out exactly how these things work. When they go and they sequence the original COVID virus, and they are now sequencing the various variants, they can look inside these viruses and tell you exactly how they operate, how they are going to affect the human body. And that's the way how they are able to come up with these vaccines and so on. We've seen, I think it's today or earlier in the week, that the FDA in the United States has given some provisional approval to a tablet, a pill, by the company Merck, and it's supposed to be a COVID pill that's supposed to help with COVID-19. But we've seen other pills in the past that persons have said work against COVID-19. We've heard about the hydroxychloroquine and those type of things, and we've heard about the ivermectin and those type of things. There's a lot of different. If you listen to one set of people talk about it, you hear one thing. If you listen to a next set of people talk about it, you would hear a completely different thing. But what is universally accepted is the vaccines. And even though we've heard about various pills and so on, they can work when you already have the virus. They can work to lessen the effects that you would have and so on. But the vaccine is the one thing that can sort of stop the spread or slow down the spread and prevent the replication and prevent the advancements of all these different variations of the COVID-19. And so with my last few minutes, I want to make an appeal to those in the society who have not gone out yet to go and get vaccinated, to go out and get the vaccine. I've interacted with a lot of young persons, and when I ask them about the vaccine, they say, "Oh, I haven't gone to take the vaccine." And I ask, "Well, why you haven't gone to take the vaccine?" And some of them would laugh and they would smile and they would say, "Well, COVID not affect me. I don't think I should go. Me not travel, me not go nowhere, me not go America, so I don't need to take the vaccine." Or some of them say, "Oh, maybe I might go next year." Very nonchalant about it. Okay? And I'm asking you to take it seriously. There are those of you out there who are parents, you have children of high school age, 12 years and older, who are there and they have not gone to get vaccinated yet. I want to make an appeal to you to, sit down and speak with your kids. If you're unsure about it, speak to a medical professional, and make the decision to go out and get vaccinated. I also want to appeal to our teachers and so on. We still have a large population of our teachers who are out there and they remain unvaccinated. I want to appeal to you to, you are the first line teaching our students, especially those of you teaching in the primary schools, because our primary school students are still unable to get vaccinated. The vaccines that we have at this point in time, the Pfizer vaccines, they can be administered to students, to persons 12 years and older, but our younger children, they cannot be vaccinated. So we want to urge, those of you who are on the front line and interacting with them to go out and do what you can do to protect them and to protect our island as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, the band has struck up. That means we are at the 10 o'clock hour. That means we are out of time here on The Mark. I want to thank all of you who tuned in and listened to us this week. I want to thank all of you who called in and contributed to the show. Of course, the show wouldn't be what it is if you don't call in. I think I had a wonderful time this weekend and this week, and whenever I get an opportunity to come back on the show again, I'm certainly going to be happy to come to interact with you. I love coming and doing the show. Of course, that the show is going to be rebroadcast tomorrow afternoon at 1. So if you didn't catch us tonight, you can listen to us tomorrow. Do have a wonderful night and stay safe.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.